Welcome back to Pole Barn Garage, where today it's time to get ready for Duct Tape Drags 2025. Our weapon of choice this time is going to be this 1964 Buick Skylark with a 472 Cadillac swapped into it. We did 2 videos on this car. Check them out if you haven't seen them. But I've picked up some goodies and some things that need to be done before this car can be roadworthy, and some safety items as well. Since you've last seen the car, I did have my buddy rig up some exhaust on it, so he made these side pipes for it. It's not perfect, but if you'll recall, the 472 doesn't really fit in here all that well, and this manifold was actually on top of the frame. So that left him with one option. Well, it left me with 2 options. One of them was to buy very expensive custom headers. That's not going to happen. And I don't possess the talent to make a set of headers to fit this. So manifolds it is. But what he was able to do was run that pipe on top of the frame and kick it out the fender. Yes, they rub on the tires a little bit, but only at full lock. This side he had to do this similar kind of thing. It's a mess, but it works, and the car's a lot quieter. I'm not going to tell you it sounds good. Kind of sounds like a farm truck, but you know what? The car doesn't really look that good either. So let's just lean into it hard. It's a beater. And that's what the Battle of the Beaters challenge is all about at Duct Tape Drags. Your car can't be nice to enter. But Battle of the Beaters isn't the only thing we're doing. I am organizing Poverty Tour 2 Duct Tape Drags. So 5 days before the event on October 12th, we're going to meet in Joplin, Missouri and drive 1,500 miles on Route 66 and scenic bypasses all the way to Tucson, Arizona, and you guys are coming with me. I don't know how many people we're going to have there, but I got to make sure that my car will actually function and be able to do the trip. That way I'm free to help other people with their cars. So we got to make this thing as good as it can get anyway. If you're interested in Poverty Tour, please check out the Poverty Tour 2025 Facebook group, and all the info is there, including the route and everything. So what are we going to do to this car? Well, we got a lot. I got a full front disc brake conversion for it and a dual circuit master cylinder for safety reasons. We will be driving through the mountains, and I want to make sure the brakes are up to par. They do work fine right now, but if one thing goes wrong, you lose them all. We are going to install a external disconnect for the battery because the battery is mounted in the trunk. We actually need to run a new battery cable to the starter. The cables I ran are not big enough gauge and they struggle to crank sometimes. On the engine side of things, there's a handful of things I would like to do as well. One of them is the oil pump. It's an external oil pump on a Cadillac, very similar to a Buick engine. You can rebuild them, they're pretty quick and easy to do. I don't know if it's an issue, but it would be easy to just make sure we don't have to worry about it. You might notice the aluminum intake sitting on the roof. Well, I wasn't going to buy one of those because those things are like $600, but I scored this unit, an open box, on eBay for $375. I couldn't say no. I don't know what's wrong with it. I could tell some of the threads are kind of jacked up, but I think we can make it work. So that's, almost half price, and you can tell by the original intake, look how low it is. The carb flange is actually lower than the intake port. Bolting on this intake onto one of these Cadillac engines is worth a significant amount of power. See how much taller that is? It's going to change this thing a lot. That said, what it will also do is extend the RPM range of this engine. This is a 10 3/4 to 1 472, rated at 375 horsepower and 500 pounds of torque. But it makes all that power at like 2,000 RPM. And in fact, if you rev this engine over about 4,500 RPM, it will come apart. Once we add the taller plenum, it's going to extend the RPM range of this engine to where I could possibly blow it up. So we are going to need to install an MSD box with a rev limiter built in. We're going to have to set the rev limiter around 4,500 RPM just to make sure I don't scatter the thing. If you've watched the previous videos on the car, you know this thing is a torque monster. And you nail it and it just spins uncontrollably. So we're going to have to address that as well once we do the intake. With that said, I think I'm going to start with the intake because it's the shiniest, newest thing I got. Let's start throwing this on. We'll begin by draining some of the antifreeze out of the engine. I don't know if it's a wet intake or not, but I'm just going to assume that well, you know what? I don't think this is a wet intake. See, here's the coolant passage right here. The only runners I see are fuel. I'll be damned. It is, it's a dry intake. There's nowhere for coolant to go. We don't have to drain it. That's pretty cool. In that case, let's pop the carb off. Then all we gotta do is just unbolt the intake. You learn something new every day, even when you think you know. Well, I've never thought I know everything. But if you were to think you knew everything, you would learn something new anyway. Let me recover my adapter plate here. This is a good one, Edelbrock one. Probably the only adapter plate I would ever recommend you try to use right here. I bet this intake isn't light, is it? I bet it's really gonna suck, isn't it? Yeah. But at least the aluminum one's light, and that'll be more performances for our Cadilark. Why, we might even break into the 14s. Sorry if I'm sounding a little sick. I'm a little bit under the weather today. I don't think it's anything major, though. I should be good to go in a couple of days. What the hell? I don't think it's supposed to do that. Huh. Does it blow up now, or does it start ticking? For as expensive as these damn batteries are, you would think that this just wouldn't happen, you know? Some of those are tight. Oh, yeah, several of those are tight. Yeah, that's getting them. Got one here that doesn't... There we go. I think that's it. Yep. Y'all want to see a magic trick? So you're about to watch me grow a tail. Oh my God. Shit. I'm pretty sure the whole car just moved up about ½ an inch. Very convenient. This thing has managed to capture and hold on to about ½ a quart of oil. Try to get this out without dumping it. Oh man, this thing ain't so whippy inside, is it? Oh boy, look at all this carbon that's from the heat riser here, baking the oil, and now I've disturbed it. I don't know if this is the way to go or not, but let's find out. I got a lot of it out of there, but I did not get it all. Probably leaking on the bottom side of the intake, or even if it wasn't, just the heat alone will carbonize the oil and make it just terrible like that. We're going to clean this as good as we can, and then we'll flush the rest of the engine. As you recall, we changed the oil pan and the pickup tube and stuff already, so it's probably all right in there. The reason I wanted to do an oil pump on it is because I noticed that the oil pressure gauge kind of flickers once it gets hot. It's not bad, it carries 40 pounds, but it just kind of ticks up and down, you know? And that's usually either a sign of a weak oil pump or a bunch of crap. So it may not even need an oil pump, it may just need cleaned. Let this super clean work on there for a little bit. I'm going to scrub with a soft bristle brush, because we don't want to get any bristles or wire bristles in here, you know. That would be bad, and we may miss them. And if we use a nylon brush like this, it's pretty safe. All we want to do is just break the stuff up or turn it back into liquid. Either way. We just need to remember that we did this and start the car, let it run for just a few seconds. Go ahead and drain the oil and put some fresh oil in it again. This isn't going to be perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was. Now watch carefully as I ignore my own advice and use a wire wheel to clean up these intake ports. That is significantly better in there. I'm going to dump a quart of transmission fluid into the engine. Then when we start it up, the transmission fluid will help kind of, I don't know, dislodge and clean things. We don't want to dislodge them too much, just a little. I don't think the engine itself is in that poor condition. I remember I had the valve covers off of it, and they look pretty good. unless I've just blacked out that part of my memory. That's possible. I gotta go get some gasket sealer. Let's get that aluminum intake stuck on. So the Cadillac uses a sheet metal intake gasket, like a lot of old engine designs, AMCs and Buicks and I think some Oldsmobiles, all originally used a sheet metal gasket. And when you use a sheet metal gasket, you have to put a little bit of RTV around every single port, including the intake ports. Now, we don't have a water port to worry about on this, so that's convenient. But both sides, just a thin film that's going to make sure it seals. You drop it in and bolt it on. Well, and the China walls, of course. Most engines that originally had a sheet metal gasket, those engines have a fiber alternative now. And the Cadillac probably does, but there's nothing wrong with the sheet metal. The problem with the fiber or composite gasket is it doesn't have a valley pan anymore, so it doesn't control the oil splash as well. I don't know how critical that is, but I gotta figure there's a reason that GM decided to do it, right? Just a thin film around everything. It's very important that you use a, like a 90-minute gasket adhesive or something. Don't use the stuff that sets up too quickly, or you're going to be in trouble. Okay, that's done. Let's build our China walls. And originally, this is going to use a seal that pushes in, like a rubber seal. I prefer just to make them. The only difference is with a sheet metal gasket, you have to do it on the bottom and the top. Don't be shy with it, is what I'm saying. Let's just set this down. It has 2 locating pins that center it for you. And with that in place, I will go ahead and put an additional layer of China wall on the top of the gasket. And there's not really such a thing as too much. There's definitely such a thing as too little. Now, we're ready for the plop. Something like that. Remember, anytime you do anything, assemble it like a piece of IKEA furniture. Get all the fasteners in first, and then tighten. Although usually the Edelbrock intakes fit fairly well. Usually. And anytime you tighten down anything, like an intake, and you're not going to look up torque specs because it's an intake, the least you can do is work your way from the middle out. That's going to give you a nice even load of the torque. So I'll do these guys in the middle, crossover, so on and so forth, and then I'm going to run over the bolts maybe 2 or 3 more times just to make sure everything's seated. The other thing to look for is to make sure your squish is good on the China walls, and yeah, there's about as much on the outside as I put on the inside, so it's perfect. You see how this Edelbrock intake almost looks spread bore, and it's just got a real thin wall to seal against on the edge? If you ever run into problems with a 4150 flange carburetor leaking on that kind of intake design, which a lot of the Edelbrocks are, use one of these. It's a sealing plate. You just put this shim in between, like that, and then you use 2 gaskets, and that reinforces that edge around here so that you're a lot less likely to blow out a carb gasket. Just something you can do if you want to. I think they actually call it an adapter plate, although a regular carburetor will bolt right to that. There we go. Oh yeah, we just gave ourselves hood clearance problems. Okay, she might get a hood scoop. It's gonna be close. With a drop base air cleaner, maybe. We do have a slight problem. The carburetor is much higher now, and this doesn't reach, so I'm gonna have to extend this throttle arm or convert to a throttle cable. But that seems like more work, so I say we just extend this arm, what, about 2 inches? That should take care of it. As long as our geometry isn't too bad. So what I need to go find is a tube or something to sleeve this with, cut it in half and make it just a little longer. I think I got a plan. Let me cut this in half. It's always a little nerve-wracking. I gotta clean up the cut. And we got a couple of options. I had an idea of using a 1/4-inch socket. That fits on there pretty good. Plus, you know, it's stylish. The other idea I had was using a roll pin. Theoretically, I could drive the roll pin on there and it would hold, you know. That way it's not just dependent on my welding ability, but I think I could probably get the socket attached well enough, and I think it'll end up sleeving it a little bit more. And the other good thing with this is we can trial fit it. So I made a little mark on this with the socket fully seated here. We can put it in that far, and that's the perfect length. You guys know I possess the fabrication ability of an orangutan, but yeah, see what I mean? I don't even know how to do this right, but we'll figure it out. Something like this. Yep, that's hideous, but it'll work. Let me get the other half. Yeah, that's probably straight. It looks straight enough. About as straight as Mortsky. Beautiful. Let me wire wheel this so the tech guys don't look too close. Yeah. It's better. That is in fact throttle linkage. I have Jess floor it, see what happens. That works beautiful. Alright. I'm assuming we're going to have hood clearance issues. It may not. If I get the right air cleaner, it might fit. It's pretty close. I mean, it works without an air cleaner. It might even fit with the triangle. If I make the triangle line up with the brace on the hood. No, it will not. But if I get a regular drop base, it might fit. Running a little low on lids, but I got this setup cobbled together. Let's see. Nope. I'm surprised that rubbed. Just on the edge. Well, I don't mind putting a hood scoop on it. I just gotta find one that looks right. Let's try a thinner air filter. Although, that leaves like that much room for it to breathe. Let's just try it. I could get away with that, but I don't know. I just kind of feel like with the drop base and this, that thing is gonna hate life. It's gonna run super duper rich. So we're gonna need a hood scoop, and I ordered one. It's not gonna be what you're expecting. It'll be kind of cool. Hopefully it shows up on time. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and hack a hole in the hood of this, just so it's ready to go. And I'll just put the carb stud in there and try to ding the hood with it. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, let's hack a hole. And you might see the L88 hood scoop in the background. This isn't it. I put it on the car. It looks pretty dumb. So the scoop I ordered, it's a teardrop scoop for like a Ford Thunderbolt. Kind of different. It's kind of the same shape of car. It may look dumb, but at least it'll be kind of different. I don't know. I didn't want a cowl hood scoop because they always end up looking like Chevelles. This is fairly straightforward. What I'm going to do is drill a hole where the carb stud was, which is dead nuts in the middle of this hood. So I must have got the engine in pretty square. Bingo. Yeah, look how centered that is. It's not bad. So now I'm going to go get a lid. We're just going to make a 14-inch hole in the hood. Set this lid right on top of the carb stud. Draw a circle. And then we'll cut on the outside of this line. And we'll have plenty of room. I'm going to take a step bit to that hole in the middle. That'll give us a big enough hole to start our nibbler in. And it should go without saying that I have covered the engine, of course. I'm a little sickened by this. This hood was pretty good. It's probably the only decent thing on the whole car, and now it's ruined. The clock on the wall said 3 o'clock. And if we did that right, this should fit with room to spare, and it does. However, you see the bracing of the hood here, it still needs trimmed out, so we'll have to get that with the cutoff wheel. Ah! 1 and 2. That should work great. All right, let's put that little project on ice for a minute, though, and we'll find something else to do. There's plenty of that. When I said I got an MSD box to put in it, you guys didn't think I'd actually, like, buy an MSD box, did you? No! I have their Street Fire brand here, which is kind of like their off brand. I've used these before. They're alright. The MSD 6AL is over $400 or maybe more than that. This is about $220, and it has a rev limiter built in, which is the only thing I really want out of this. Let's figure out where to put this thing. I don't trust this thing to save my life. I will be traveling with a spare HEI module and everything to put it back just like it is right now. Anything we take out, we're putting in the trunk. If it holds up and lives, it'll be kind of nice. Here's your rev limiter here, and they've got it set at 6,000 RPM, which is far too much. No. We want 4,000. Let's do 4,700. That's really pushing it on a Cadillac. I'll try it. I'm going to mount it in the car, so it may not be the easiest thing to get to, but it'll protect it from heat, and heat is what kills these things quick. Before I mount it in there, we're not going to use this white wire here. That's for, I think, Ford ignitions. So we can cut that off and cover it in tape, and that's at least one less thing that we have to deal with. Since we don't have a heater box, I think if I mount it to this plate we made here, that would probably work pretty good, and it'll let this thing dissipate heat and also be protected from heat. And we've got this hole up here, right up there. We can run wires through that, no problem. I don't want to blow your guys' mind too much, but you'll never guess what I'm going to use to attach this. Self-tappers. I know. You never saw it coming. It said pre-drill, I said no. We'll have to cut the pointy end off on the other side. Beautiful. Was this supposed to be grounded? Well, we'll ground it separately. That'd be better anyway. Yep. It's supposed to be grounded to the battery. Of course, hooking up the MSD box, or whatever the hell it is snowballing and leading me to go ahead and install the master disconnect switch that the NHRA requires when the battery is in the trunk. This has to be on the outside of the car so it can be shut off with a switch thingy. I don't know. This thing's straight up Chinesium. So I'm going to just hack a hole in the quarter here where the quarter's kind of screwed up anyway. That way I don't have to feel too bad. So I figure if I just put it down here, that's got to satisfy them, right? I want to keep the connections inside the trunk. That way they don't immediately corrode and fall apart. I need this to mount the hot wire for the CDI box. So I'd rather it go to a junction than the battery terminal, where the battery terminal may get removed a few times. This will always stay, so theoretically it won't die, because if those have loose connections, they also die. Heat, loose connections, bad grounds, breathing on them, they die. Use everybody's favorite Harbor Freight step bit for this. sure I've got plenty of room. Anywhere in there is fine. I think I'm going to go right here. Aha! Now we can be race car. Well, I hate this. It sticks out a lot further than I thought it would. Oh well. Maybe I could find a lower profile version. You guys get on the eBay and Amazon and see what you can find. Send it to me. Oh, come on. And my crescent wrench doesn't get big enough. Story of my life. Yeah, the alternative here was to put it in like the rear body panel, and that I don't want to drill a hole in that. That is not easily replaced. This car needs a quarter panel, so I didn't really care if I hogged a hole in it. I mean, it's not that bad, I guess. It looks like race car stuff. It's fine. I don't know why I do care, but I don't know why I do. Anyway, we now have a positive junction block here, so we will turn this lead that goes to the starter. We're going to put an eyelet on it, hook it there, and then make one to go to the battery. I was going to change the battery cables, and then I realized that the ones I bought are also copper clad aluminum, and no different than this. This works, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I should have realized for 50 bucks you don't get copper double aught gauge wire. Sometimes things are too good to be true, and they actually are good sometimes. CCA wire with copper terminals. That's just the kind of fancy guy I am. I'm even going to crimp them with my crimpers I got from Temu. And I'm even going to heat shrink them with the heat shrink I got off of Amazon. Look, I've really changed. I know. I've sold out. What can I say? I mean, you guys see all these big sponsors and, you know, all these free tools and stuff I get. Oh wait, that doesn't happen at all. It's like I do that on purpose. Anyway, we do have one sponsor in this video. So I'm very excited to work with them. I think you guys are going to like it. You guys know I'm picky about who I work with, so stay tuned. At least I got enough of this cable. I could make battery cables for the next 10 years probably. It's not the best, but there's nothing wrong with CCA. It just corrodes, it doesn't hold up as well, and it takes more of it to do the same thing as copper. I've wired the keyed 12-volt source wire for the ignition box, and I've got the tach wired, and now we're going to have to extend the power and ground. These are constant power and ground. These have to, pretty much, they got to go to the battery. You could run this to the starter solenoid and be fine, but I like them on the battery, secured, constant. And that goes for the ground too. I mean, technically, you could probably ground it to the engine as long as the engine were grounded, but let's just foolproof it. So anytime you extend a wire, you're going to end up losing amperage over the course of the wire. So this is number 14, and I don't know it in DC that well, but rule of thumb is you got to go bigger. If you're going to extend it, you need to make the wire bigger. You really should make the whole wire bigger, but their instructions do say it's okay to just, you know, go from this 14 to number 10, and you can extend it. So we'll turn this into number 10 wire, both of those, run it through the car, and land the power here, and then I guess we'll just put the negative directly to the negative battery terminal. And I'm going to run them through the car because I found a brand new carpet kit. My buddy James gave that to me. It's for a 64 to 67 A body. I don't know what color it is, but it was free, so I don't mind running wires on the floor of the car as long as we got carpet to cover them with. Yeah, it'll weigh a little bit extra, but not much, and it'll make this thing a heck of a lot more livable inside. We finished landing this, and then we will move up to the distributor where things get really kind of goofy when you hook one of these up to an HEI, but I may have to do that tomorrow. It's getting pretty late, but we got some good progress done for one day out here. Not bad. I've got just a little bit of time to wrench tonight. Let's go ahead and finish up the ignition box installation. What we're going to have to do is remove the HEI module from the distributor, and then we're going to hook up a wiring harness to the magnetic pickup of the HEI distributor, It's going to use that to trigger the ignition box. We just got to plug in this harness to the pickup wires. They're not in terrific shape, but they were working, so I'm going to guess they're okay. I'm going to take some electrical tape and wrap each one of these because it's supposed to be in a plastic housing, and that is long since deteriorated. We don't want them touching each other or touching the metal of this, so I'm going to wrap them up so they're insulated. And we're going to mount that properly and get that harness ran out of the distributor. Alright, so here's our harness going back to the box. Then we put our cap back on, and then we just hook these wires to the coil, and it should work. That's all it tells me to do. We'll see. I guess I don't understand how the coil gets powered. Oh, now I see. The white jumper wire, you're supposed to power the coil and the box together with this. Oops. They don't really make that very obvious, do they? It only shows one wire. I think I got it. It's all wired up. I'll clean it all up, but I want to make sure it actually, runs first. Let's test out the intake and the ignition box. I'm sure it'll have to crank for a second. Okay, do we have fuel yet? I think we just got it. Okay, I'm gonna guess it doesn't have spark. God, these things are stupid. Let me put one of these spark tester things on here just to verify that that's actually what's going on. Well, it's got spark. How come no runny if it has spark? This is, of course, why you never want to make, like, multiple changes at the same time. You should be smarter than me. Maybe it just needs more fuel. What the hell? It's pumping plenty of fuel. It's probably flooded now. I don't know what the hell's going on. But I really strongly suspect it's related to the ignition box. We've got a battery charger hooked up now just to hit her with some extra juice just to see if that's maybe the problem. No. So we have spark, but it's not doing anything. If it was a firing order issue, or if that thing was sparking at the wrong time, or it would burp or fart or do something. It's not doing any of that. So I think our spark is too weak, maybe? I don't know. I hate those things. I got the coil jumped out on its own jumper wire here. Let's see if maybe it's just not getting enough power to make good spark. What the? Why would that matter? Do I need to hook it? Does it have to have? What? It's got to be something with that. Let's see. So if I plug this back into the coil, maybe I need to run the ignition box on its own separate 12-volt circuit. I'm trying to see if we got a bunch of voltage drop going on or something, but it says it runs on a minimum of 9 volts, which is pretty damn low. I don't think it would be cranking as good as it is if it was only cranking on 9 volts. Alright, so the coil now has power coming from the key, just like it had before, and the ignition box is powered separately. We got spark again. If we've got spark and we've got fuel and I haven't changed anything else, it should run. My dear, I should like to have a nightcap before bed of AGZ. Let me tell you, are you like me? And do you just can't settle down at the end of the day, this helps. It does it without melatonin, it's non-habit forming. I wouldn't say it makes you fall asleep, it just kind of helps your body naturally do its thing and you rest. And whenever you sleep better, I guess. And they've got some wonderful flavors. What's this one?
Chocolate mint.
And then this one is the chocolate. It's good stuff. You want one, Jess?
Yes, definitely.
Chocolate mint. And this is your frother. Now, if you use my code or click the link in the description, you're going to get one of these bad boys for free. Check out that baby. She's labeled. I don't know what this is. This is the only time I've ever used a frother in my life. So you just put it in there, right?
Yeah.
Thoroughly blends it. It froths it. You would might say. You see how frothed that is? This thing's got some RPM to it. I could probably use this as a drill. And it's not bad, like, it's pretty good. So make sure you use my code, click the link in the description, get your frother / power drill. Thank you to AGZ for sponsoring today's video. I guess I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, it's the next day and I figured it out. And I'm not proud of it, I feel pretty dumb. But you know the difference between this YouTube channel and other YouTube channels is that I'll tell you when I did something dumb. Remember how I powered the coil separately? Yeah, you're not supposed to do that, which makes perfect sense. Now, I don't know why the jumper wire that it comes with is split into two like it's supposed to power the coil. And I don't know why it doesn't just tell you what the wires do, but it doesn't, so it is what it is. All I had to do was unplug that and it runs. Anyway, I'm gonna fix all my wiring I cut up, and then I gotta retime the engine and then we'll see what it runs like. I got the timing set at 36 total. That might be just a touch too much. Back it off about a degree. Sounds pretty good. Cool. I'm gonna change the oil on it real quick, get all that gunk out of there, and then we'll just keep working on it. But before I do anything stupid like change the oil, I'm gonna go ahead and get our new teardrop hood scoop mounted. And I sure do love installing the wrong make hood scoops on the wrong car. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I think it looks bitchin'. That's for a Ford Thunderbolt, 3.4 Fairlane, but it's such a cool scoop. It's fiberglass. It was $100 from Speedway. You have to cut your own holes in the back so that it can vent. But I mean, that's going to give us all the clearance, and it's kind of vintage drag car. I'm going to kind of just draw them how I think they should be. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make a template, and we're going to roll with whatever the template looks like. The only thing that really matters here is making sure they're the same. They can kind of be whatever they want. It's not like the scoop's supposed to be on the car anyway. I got my cardboard here. And I'm basically going to try to make an oval out of the cardboard, and then I'll trace the cardboard on both sides and cut holes. Well, I think something like this would be pretty good right here, so I'm going to go ahead and trace it. Then this is going to give us a rough cut, and then we'll have to take a Dremel or something and clean it up. But I think something like that is going to look pretty tough. And then I'm going to flip the cardboard over to get the other side, and I'll take a very precise measurement with my finger, the middle one, and yeah, you know, something like that right there. Nope, no going back now. There we go. That's most of one. I finished the edge. That's actually about right. Oh, got myself. I have sacrificed blood to this car now. Alright, I got 2 holes and I got 2 pieces of gutter mesh. You know, you put on top of your gutters to keep the leaves out. That's what we're gonna glue with JB Weld to the inside of this scoop. Then we'll have grills for our scoop. It'll look fairly similar to the way it would have looked originally on a Ford Fairlane and not a Buick Skylark, but don't let that distract you. Big thanks to Tom and Betty for keeping me well stocked on the JB Weld front. About every couple of months they send me a care package of all the consumables that I use quite frequently. They send it to the P.O. box. Get a lot of cool stuff from you guys. I'm grateful every time, and anytime you send me a letter, I got this cookie tin. I keep them all in. I got a big old stack of them, and I don't just throw the stuff away. Just know that I keep it all, and eventually I find a use for it. It usually doesn't take me very long to find a use for JB Weld, though. This is possibly overkill for what we're doing, but damn it, it ought to be stuck on there. It's stuck in there. Oh my God, I've made a huge mess. Duct tape, maybe? Nope. We'll let that set up. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and jack this thing up, put it on jack stands on all 4 corners, and I'm going to maybe rebuild the oil pump, maybe. And we're also going to start swapping disc brakes onto it. Car's in the air. I'm going to go ahead and finish the hood scoop installation, which we will be securing with a number of self-tapping screws. Now, if I have the time, I will mold this hood scoop into the hood. Not in this video, but maybe if I have the time before duct tape, where I could spend a couple days and mold this hood in, I'll do it. It would look pretty cool if it was done right. But either way, even if we were to mold the hood in, we would have to screw the hood scoop down to the hood to glue it on, so I figure we're just pre-drilling. Or maybe it'll just stay like this forever. I don't know. I also don't really care. That is the beauty of building a duct tape drags car. Everything is pretty optional. Alright, we're going to get to the disc brakes and stuff, but before I do that, I want to pop this oil pump housing off and see if we can't just help that out, just for peace of mind. I don't think there's anything really wrong with it, but I think if we just take a look, maybe throw some new spur gears in there, we can feel better. I'm also draining the oil, trying to get the sludge out, and then we'll move on to the disc brakes. If this is anything like a Buick, it's not too bad of a job to just do this. I was just worried that I may not be able to get all the bolts out, but it looks like I did think ahead a little bit, and I left just enough room. This one's a bit of a bear, but a wobble socket will get it. Kinda half-ass. Once you round it off about most of the way, she comes right out. Yep, you sit in there and drain for a while. Then I'll show you how this works. So this is your oil pump on a Cadillac. Very similar to a Buick or like early 3.8 V6. Very similar. So what wears out on a Buick is the timing cover. These gears actually chew through the cover, and then you put a little plate in there to like resurface it, and it works. But on the Cadillac, you don't have that problem, because the cover is cast iron. But what the gears are going to do, eventually, they're going to wear. And kind of like I suspected, by seeing that flicker on that oil pressure gauge, you can tell these gears are just kind of worn. They're kind of scraped up on the edges. They're just not 100% making contact with the walls in here. Well, they're not supposed to make contact, but they're making too little contact. There's a gap. In fact, I can sort of move them back and forth. Like, not bad at all. She was still getting her 40 pounds of oil pressure. But those were worn enough that it could cavitate the oil and create air pockets, basically, which would make your gauge go tit-tit-tit-tit-tit. Would it hurt anything? Probably not. Is it better to just fix it? Yeah. Here's your gears here. We're just going to pop both of them out. Then we're going to make sure it looks like my new ones. I wasn't able to find Melling or like a name brand, so I got Engine Tech, which I've used before with some good luck. And I'm just going to make sure they look, you know, more or less the same. And they're very similar. I think the original one is actually a little bigger. I mean, we'll try them. I'm not going to throw these away yet. I wish I could have got a better brand, but kind of is what it is. So it's going to come with those gears, and then it's going to come with a new relief valve. The relief valve on this is secured with a pipe plug in the side of it. You just take that out and put a new one in. Before I do that, I'm just going to give her a thorough rinse, clean it as best I can. Cleanliness is everything. And now we can actually see the bores in there where the gears ride are fairly scuffed. You get to a point where you need a new oil filter housing. I don't think this is there yet. It's nothing like catching on my latex glove here, so it's probably okay still, but 10, 20,000 more miles, probably gonna need a new one of these. Pull our pipe plug out, spring, and then there's should come out of there. The actual valve itself. Come on now, don't be shy. Maybe it did need replaced. I was just about to say, like, it probably doesn't even need this, but if that little valve's stuck in there too good, oh, there it goes. There we go. It should just fall out like that. Now we're going to really clean this thing thoroughly. Yes, in a turn of events that should surprise nobody, I am making an enormous mess. All right, well, she's all cleaned out. I put the new relief valve in. Now we're going to pack the cavity of this thing full of petroleum jelly. And just pack this baby full of this. And what that's going to do is prevent it from cavitating on the startup. And should help it build oil pressure. If we do this and fill the oil filter before we install it, it should be fine. Yeah, I mean, this is old school. That's what you do right here. And the jelly, it don't just stay in there, it melts. So it'll melt its way out of there as the engine warms up. Won't be too much of a problem. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a good tight fit now. And now the cool thing is, see how it doesn't fall out, it don't move, doesn't do weird things. That's what we want. I'm gonna put a little bit of petroleum jelly. You don't want it to have that dry, itchy feeling, you know what I mean? I'll install the oil pump drive shaft. Now I gotta clean my hands, clean this mounting surface, put a new gasket on, and bolt it on. Let's put some oil in it. There's some good 2050 VR1. And as long as I got that gasket sealed, we should be good to go. Let's fill her all the way up. You know, something else that wouldn't hurt this thing would be a PCV valve. I just realized it doesn't have one. We should add a PCV valve. That would help. Let's see. There it is. Woo! Hey, that's pretty good. Oh, I'm glad we did that. That's quite the improvement. Any leaks? Nope, all looks good. Hell yeah. That was a good $50 peace of mind fix there. Pretty easy, pretty fast. 20 extra pounds of oil pressure. It was usually 40 cold and like 25 hot. I would expect probably 60 and, well, 40, you know. That's pretty good. That motor must be fairly tight or full of shit. One or the other. Let's do some brakes. Now, you guys know I don't take a lot of sponsored stuff, but this is an exception. I've seen this company around, Lead Brakes, and they offer disc brake conversions for all kinds of stuff. And I got to looking on their website and like, man, they're awfully affordable for a complete disc brake conversion. So I think this one, the manual disc conversion, we're talking spindles, backing plates, rotors, master cylinder calipers, everything you need. You may have to make a couple of lines, we'll find out. Everything you need is included. And it was, I don't know, in the ballpark of $700, something like that. So thanks to Lead Brakes for supplying that for the Cadilark. You know, whenever I find a company that like, I think, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to work with them, I'll reach out and we'll work with them. You know, it's usually not your super big name companies though. And Lead Brakes, I think they're, you know, you call them up, you're going to talk to someone who's there, right? And that's what I like personally. I've got everything kind of scattered around here. Here's the backing plates. Here's one of the spindles. You can tell it looks very nice. And I went with a manual disc setup. Basically, it looks like it uses a Corvette style master cylinder. Pardon the rust on that. That's from it sitting in a box around here for 3 months. As well as that banner over there. I'll have to put that up in the new shop, I guess, because they don't fit in here. Anyway, let's get started. And how we're going to get started is pretty much disassemble everything on the front of the car. So let's start with removing the master cylinder. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with these drum brakes. They work perfectly fine. But the single pop master cylinder and the mountains, that kind of worries me. And I'll just feel a lot better with Jess and JD in the car with a dual circuit master cylinder and disc brakes on the front. Well, let's get the master cylinder off for starters. That way we're not draining fluid everywhere. We're gonna have to get this off, and we're gonna have to pull the junction block off. As a drum car does not use a proportioning valve. It's just a junction block, so I don't know. Well, we may be able to save that, actually. I'll hold off on that. I don't know if these come with instructions or what, so I may have to do a little research. The disc brake conversion comes with a proportioning valve that I think we could just hook to the lines I have here. But I don't know. We'll see. We got a little ways to go before we need to worry about that. Let us begin disassembly. There's not a whole lot to it on these. Basically separate the ball joints, the tie rod, and throw a jack under the control arm. And I'd probably recommend doing one side at a time, but if you throw a jack under that control arm, you can do this without pulling the spring and stuff. This car's already got new ball joints in it and new tie rods, I think. I know a lot of the stuff is pre-owned because we robbed it out of a car out back. You know, used as the new. The double wrench method, not even required. Cool. So we have to salvage this wishbone here. There's a wishbone that bolts to the spindle. I'm trying to remember how that comes off. Yeah, I can unbolt that with the drum assembly. I don't think we actually have to remove the drum or the bearing or anything. I think we can do it all from the back side. Anything to save me a little bit of work, you know, that's what I'm into. Oh boy, that rag joint is pretty rough looking, ain't it? We should change that. Yeah, that's something that'll kill you for sure. All right, and with that off of the tie rod, we'll get our pickle fork in here. Cool thing about this, if we can remove the whole drum as a unit, is I actually have a car out back that could use these. We could just bolt them right on and boom, we got brand new front brakes. It's a good thing about GM world is it's all the same stuff. There's the upper. Once again, bust out ye old pickle fork. Well, that's working great, as you can tell. Oh, of course, I turned the camera off and it popped free. Anyway, there we go. Upper and the lower. Now don't let that jack drop or you'll die. Oh wow, that's not that wasn't ever tight. It's not even seated. No pickle fork required. Well, that's terrifying. I was driving this car. I don't know if that spindle is threaded or if there's a nut on the inside, but, well, let's find out. Nope, there's a nut. God dang it. So, you do have to remove the drum. Well, learn from my mistake. I'll deal with that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get this a little less deadly. How bad are the bushings in this? Pretty bad. Not the worst, though. They'll run. Is this bent? I think that control arm is bent. There's no way. That seems like it's rolled pretty hard forward. Should I get control arms? That lower control arm's bent, for sure. Oh, come on, man. This is the snowball effect. I tell you, the car didn't drive that bad. I could definitely ignore it. Hell, the bushings are new. They've been replaced. Maybe that's just the way it is. It doesn't really look that much different than this one. And, you know, they couldn't both possibly be bent. I'm telling you, the car drives fine at 80 miles an hour, so you know what? I'm going to ignore it. Never mind the fact that it drove fine at 80 miles an hour with the lower ball joint not installed. Here's the nuts on the inside to remove that steering arm. And it comes with new hardware to attach it to your disc brake spindle. Behold, wishbone. Alright, time to put that in the hoard pile. Now this is unfortunate. So this car used 7/16 hardware to attach the steering arm, and these use 1/2 inch hardware. We're gonna have to drill these out bigger. Unfortunately, my drill press died a while ago, and I haven't fixed it because I'm lazy. So we'll see if I can't screw these up real good. A little pre-lube probably wouldn't hurt. Nice and slow, plenty of lube. Oh my God. It took me a minute, and I think those drill bits might have 2 more holes left in them, but I got all the way through that, and it looks pretty damn straight. I got the steering arm on, I got it sitting on the tie rod. Let's shoot our caliper bracket to the spindle. It said torque it to 125. I think this thing puts out like 600, so, you know, it should be fine. Oh, it doesn't leave me room for a socket. Oh, come on. It does on this one. Seems tight. It all seems appropriately torqued to me. I mean, hell, it's just the brakes and the steering. Who cares? Well, you guys have seen this part 40 million times. I'm just going to pack bearings and toss them in. The races are already installed in the rotor and hub assembly. These come with it. I didn't spring for the fancy pants, drilled and slotted stuff. I just regular, the cheapest one. That's what I wanted. I tell you what, you know, and here's why you can trust me when I talk about a product. I got the stuff for free, right? I'm not happy with the bearings they provide. These are Chinese bearings, and in fact, the outer bearing is Master Pro. Those are just straight out of O'Reilly's. I mean, they're fine. I'm going to install them. They'll probably work fine. But I would really like to see Timken bearings included in this kit. They don't cost hardly any more money, and they're made in the USA, and they're just a far superior wheel bearing. If I ever buy wheel bearings, it's a Timken. You're just not going to get 10, 20,000 miles out of them before they need replaced, and that's just a fact. I'll pack them up. They're going to serve our purpose completely fine. Puddin' had one of them fancy wheel bearing packer deals that you pack full of grease and you just smush it together, and boy, it worked really good. I mean, it probably packed it better than I could ever pack it by hand. But man, by the time you set that thing up, it takes you 15 minutes to get the damn thing out and get it full of grease and get it ready to go. I'm already done. This is how I like to do it. Just old school. Works fine. It's never failed me. Also, go tell Puddin' to get on swapping the motor in that Tempest I got out there. I need him to have that done in about a month or two. So it'd be nice if he would, you know, get to work on it. I'm going to go ahead and pack the outer. Oh, I'm going to regret that. See, I'm going to pick up that box later, and I'm going to go, God! The good thing about using a disc brake kit like this one from Lead Brakes, though, is that everything in it is off-the-shelf stuff, pretty much. It's factory GM brake stuff. So if you need a caliper, you need a wheel bearing, you need a rotor, you need a set of brake pads, it don't got to be nothing special. It's just factory GM stuff. You order it for a 67 GTO with disc, well, actually, don't do that. You order it for probably a 70 GTO or Chevelle with disc brakes, because this style caliper is a single piston caliper. It's the later model Delco caliper, which is far more common. Yeah, that's what you. This is probably 70 to 72 stuff. It all interchanges. On the Skygo, we've got 72 Le Mans spindles and disc brakes on it. Peel these off. That way I can step on them later and then track it into the house. This kit comes with everything, man. You gotta give them that. Wheel seals, bolts, cotter keys, everything. I appreciate that because it keeps me from having to run back and forth into town 100 times. New wheel seal. Let me get this up on there. I remember having problems with this when I did a disc brake conversion on my mom's car, and they rubbed on the backing plate real bad, so we may have to do a little grinding or bending on those. Not Lead Brake, different brand, but similar stuff. The backing plate bends very easily. Just make sure you got enough room around it to where it's not touching, because that would be annoying. I think we're good. Oh. Still touching somewhere. Where at? That's the business there. Beautiful. It's a bearing preload, well, then we'll mount a caliper on it. Here's the calipers they provide, and I believe, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure these are brand new units. They're not a reman. And I don't believe they're reman because they don't say Delco or Moraine on them. And that actually, these days, that's kind of a good thing. I've had some problems with the reman calipers lately. This will work nice. Zinc coated, shouldn't rust. It's nice. A really good piece. I would legitimately just buy these calipers. Looks like they come with a semi-metallic pad. I don't know. Could be ceramic. I have no idea. I take our slide bolts out, clip our brake pad into position. Just set this like that. And voila, you have disc brakes. It took me, I don't know, maybe an hour. Well, a little more than an hour. It took me about 20 minutes to drill those freaking steering arms out. But, you know, this is a pretty quick job. You should be able to get the whole thing done in a weekend pretty easily. And it's gonna, if you got drum brakes, you go to disc, like, that's gonna be an upgrade. You're gonna notice it. I love my drum brakes, I really do. I have no problem with them. But this will stop better. Sure is pretty looking. That's the nicest thing on this whole damn car. Alright. Next up is the brake hoses, which they also provide. And that's probably where I'll stop for now. I'm going to go ahead and mount the brake hose to the caliper and get it up in its bracket here. Then I'll stop, because we're probably going to end up making some brake lines for this. And then I can go ahead and do the other side, and once I've got the other side assembled, then we'll worry about the hydraulic side of things. Well, I got this side done. It's all put together. Y'all want to see a cool magic trick? Look at that. Huh? The control arms are loose. And this ball joint was also loose. Which really begs the question of, how am I alive? Don't know. Still here, though. I'm going to tighten the control arms. Got a couple good turns on that. This one, I think that one is literally hand started. Yep. Not tight at all. Oh my god. I've been trying to figure out a solution to this master cylinder. It did not come with a push rod. So I went and pulled another master cylinder off a parts car I had out back, because it was a dual circuit master cylinder. Now the one on the car, it had a push rod that was retained with the piston, which won't work on this one. The original dual circuit drum brake master cylinder had a push rod retained with this little retainer deal here, which I've been able to remove, and now I'm just going to stake it into place, and that will keep our push rod from falling out and killing us, which is just wonderful. Now, the reason I'm out here, working out here, is because Jesse's here with Atomic Aero Motors, and we're also working on a Ford panel truck, trying to make it, you'll have to watch, I'm not going to spoil it, it's a nightmare.
It's pretty bad.
It's so bad, but we're making progress. But while he's fiddling with the carburetor on that, I'm trying to keep a little momentum going on the Cadilark. I'm going to bench bleed this master cylinder, which looks suspiciously like a Corvette master cylinder to me. And it came with a good bleeding kit, which I appreciate. You can actually see the bubbles coming out of these. And you can also see how a master cylinder works. See how whenever I'm in the lower part of the travel, the front brakes are activated, and not until I get to the very bottom of it do the rear brakes do much at all. So I'm just going to stand here and jack this thing off a little bit until she starts really squirting. Oh yeah. Finally got this damn thing bolted on, kinda. I got the pin on the pedal, so that rod I use is out of a 68. I think it's slightly different. I think the pedal assembly is a little different. But the pedals are gone out of the parts car, so I'll figure it out. As long as the damn brakes work and the rod don't fall off, that's all I care about. It mounts on there kind of weird though. It almost tilts down. I guess it's about level, ain't it? Yeah, it's just dead level. The engine tilts back, so it looks weird. It's like whoever put that motor in maybe wasn't very smart or something. Let's make sure I can push the pedal. Obviously, it's not hooked to anything, but we should be able to tell if it's going to work. Yes. Yep, it'll work. It's going to be... they're going to be hard to push, but it'll work. Yeah, it pumped fluid out, so it's working. Oh, never mind. The bales are too tall, and the lid doesn't fit, so... yeah, that's about par for course on that chrome stuff, but I'll have to find a bale somewhere. I don't know where the hell it went. In order to get the brake lines up to the new proportioning valve here, we're going to end up having to make them longer and eliminate that junction block. We're just going to need the rear brake line to come in here, and then these two on the front are your front brake lines. I don't think it really matters which is which. They just kind of got to go to the front brakes. I guess to get started, I'm just going to remove all the brake lines from this junction block and remove the junction block. And we're going to make a new left front brake line because it's only like 4 inches long. We're going to extend the front to rear brake line, and we'll extend the right front brake line. Junction block out of here. I guess the good thing about having already done the brakes is that everything came off pretty well, except for the right front brake line. I don't think I'd ever touched it, but I heated it up and it popped right off. No drama. All those lines I made, you know, that I'm not going to use anymore, they just spun right off. Well, let me make more. I'm just going to quickly whip out some brake lines with my SUR&R brake flare tool. This thing is a lifesaver. They have since sponsored me with a few things like this cool deburring tool and a handful of little things, which I greatly appreciate. I have, hell, even this brake line is SUR&R. In fact, they sent me a roll of that. Pretty cool stuff. I really like it, but the flare tool I bought on my own, and then they have reached out to me since to you know, offer a little assistance with the ancillary items. But I bought that brake flare tool on my own because I knew, like, this thing is wicked cool. I had a buddy who had one, and I was super jealous. So I had to have my own. And it's been 2 years, and I have had no problems with it, and I've never had a single flare not work. And I can make a flare in about, I don't know, maybe a minute, probably less if I was really quick. It's super simple. It's a 3-step process basically, but really only 2 steps. you make that like outside part of the flare with one die, then you take your little pistol grip thing off, and then you get the cone thing to make the inside part of the flare. Everything snaps together, everything stays in the same location. It's idiot proof practically. If I can do it, you can do it. And just like that, I now have a brake line. Like, it's that easy. Look at that. Boom. Brake line. Now, of course, I just noticed that the supplied fitting doesn't really fit in my flare that good. Where my flares I have, it cups it like perfectly. So hopefully that just smashes into place, but I don't love that. I should have used my own fittings. Because I have some right here. Yeah, they have a much better cone on them. We'll try it, but if we have a leak, we know where to go. Just unioning these lines together. Not compression fittings, don't ever do that, but a union's fine. So just to extend it, I put a union in between there and run up to the prop valve. I gotta rinse and repeat 2 more times, tighten everything, then we can bleed the brakes. Alright, there we go. Looks like a bit of a jungle gym, but it's pretty easy to work on considering there's no inner fender. I like that part. Oh, and I still can't find the bail for that master cylinder. It must not have been on there. Looks like the thing is gravity bleeding fairly well, and that's a good thing because I've noticed these new proportioning valves are super sensitive. So you want to get the rear brakes bled first, if you can, without touching the pedal. And I think we're going to be able to pull that off. We can get these rear brakes bled. We may have to pressure bleed the fronts. That way we can get the calipers full, but this is working for now. What happens is the damn proportioning valve, they just kick over, and they're very hard to reset. The new ones especially. Like they're not like they used to be. I got JD out here to help me bleed these brakes. We only got so far with gravity bleeding, and that's not a good sign. We have fluid, but not a lot of pressure. Hey, I might have forgot something.
Oh, well, that...
You know, it'd probably work better with that hooked up. Hit the brakes a few times. Let's look for leaks.
Yeah.
Hey, that seems a lot better. Weird. All right, pump them. Oh yeah, rear brakes are working already.
Holding.
Looks good to me. I mean, they feel fine. This is fine. That rag joint looks super funky to me. Like, see how part of it's not seated? Doesn't seem right. I got a new one. This is a job made considerably more difficult by the 472 Cadillac in our way, but also made considerably easier by the lack of inner fender. I find myself conflicted. I do remember Ray with Wrenchin' with Ray on YouTube. When we put this together, he said, hey, that rag joint looks pretty bad, man. And I said, no, we'll just ignore it. And here we are. I don't know if I gotta pull the column to get that off or not. There. Yeah, it wasn't great. Look at that. It's torn. I think I got the wrong one. This one has a flat in the side, and the old one is totally round. So I think I got the correct one coming, but it won't be here for a bit. In this box, I have a drive shaft safety loop. Not required, but that's gonna maybe help keep us safe. But I'm gonna guess you just bolt it straight to the floor. It says no more than 6 inches behind the front U-joint in the NHRA safety manual, which means we're gonna bolt it to the floor. That's our only option. I wish it was just a little bit more. We could bolt it to this brace where it might actually do something. But the NHRA has their arbitrary, pointless rules for no reason. That's going to be pretty much right underneath the seat. That's a seat belt, so this must be the seat. And we need to pull this seat anyway because I got a seat cover for it. Conveniently, the seat started to disassemble itself on the way out. We just got to get under there, figure out where to put this thing, and then drill a couple of holes. I'm thinking we do something like that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Hopefully this drive shaft isn't too far out of whack. I tried to figure out how to do this, and no matter what we do, it ends up being the lowest thing on the whole car by a lot. Lower than the exhaust pipes, lower than the oil pan. Like, this is going to quickly become a safety hazard, not a safety device. Why do they make you do this stuff? JD, it's time for you to learn an important life lesson. When you run across something that's difficult and might be challenging, but the rules say you gotta do it. Cheat and lie and put half of your drive shaft loop in instead of the whole thing. That way, whenever the decrepit tech inspector, who can barely walk, he tries to get down on his knees to look under the car, he sees a loop and he goes, yep, that's fine. See this upper half here? Installed. Next. That looks like probably fine right there. Drill away.
Ow.
Quit complaining.
Ow.
Drop these 2 bolts down
Okay.
through the floor. It's good. It's not even in straight at all. All this because I want to run drag slicks. Hooray for safety! Imagine you've had 2 knee replacements. Can you see this? No.
All I see is the bottom.
Perfect. Then we put some big fender washers up here so that it might actually do something. Probably not, but who cares? Alright, so we have a couple other missions.
Mm-hmm.
I got some anti-hot bars to put in the back, and also a pair of air shocks. These are anti-hot bars. These are factory GM stuff that GM used on all manual transmission high-performance cars of the day. These are killer units from the parts place. I put the same things on the Sky Goat, but I use the GM style ones, which are just stamped steel and they're kind of flexible. These are fabricated, welded together. It's a nice looking piece. I don't know which side is which. Are they the same? No.
No.
Okay, so one side is one and
The other one is another.
we're going to have to do some figuring out is what that means. But I'm pretty sure they go from the upper control arm of the rear end to something. They go from the lower control arm frame brace to the upper control arm frame brace, and it just kind of squares everything up. We have to get that bolt out. This bottom one, we just have to get the nut off. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot, but
No.
but it may help. All right. Came right out, huh?
Yep.
Anti-hot bars are on. We discovered a little problem. The inspection cover I bolted on, I didn't show this, but it's rubbing. Let's just cut a notch.
Yeah.
While he does that, I'm going to start taking the rear shocks off. We're going to have to haul some tools and luggage and stuff, so having a pair of air shocks is going to help with that. Let me get these old ones off, which are new, and replace them with new air shocks. When you're taking off GM rear shocks, the best thing that can happen is the damn thing just breaks. They're so stupid. You gotta get a wrench up on top here, hold a bolt, and then try to unthread that nut. Another one bites the dust. Okay, let's see if our air shocks work. They blowing up?
Yeah, they're blowing up.
We're not going to want to air them up all the way. I probably put 70 pounds in there. That's going to be pretty stink bug until there's some cargo in the back. We want to find out what color carpet I got here that James gave me. And, oh God. Man, that's going to match perfect.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I know carpet seems a little ridiculous in something that we're calling a drag car, but boy, it'll make it a hell of a lot more comfortable inside. This is for something else. 4-door, that's why. 64 to 67 A-body 4-door. So it's, well, the wheelbase is the same. I can't imagine it's that much different. This one's the front, for sure.
It's not that bad.
No, we can make this work.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit of home-growed, but no big deal. I mean, it's blue and the dash is tan, and I got a black seat cover. Kind of smells like mouse poop, but you know, that's alright. Like, just got the new rag joint installed. Yeah, I even got the lower bearing reinstalled in the column. Feels really nice, tight in the wheel, good to go. We're gonna try to get some rear seat belts in here. The car's already got 2 halves, so I dug up these 2 random females here, and they work. So I don't even have a back seat yet, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Probably about right that.
Yep. We got a couple of seat belts. Now let's try to get this carpet to fit. Obviously this isn't the right carpet for the car. You always put the back half in first. Get this up out of the way. And we're gonna do this super half-ass. I'm just gonna cut a slot to run the seatbelt out of the carpet, the whole seatbelt. If you do this right, you won't even see it. See, this seatbelt matches. It's blue. You think we got to put a little glue on the floor just to help it stay down?
Yes.
We have no sill panels, no door panels, no kick panels. We have no interior whatsoever to put in this car. We got to poke holes for the seat. I got a way I do that. I heat up a screwdriver and I poke it through the bottom. Did it work?
Hang on. I gotta poke it through the carpet. There we go.
Not gonna lie, that turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
Looks pretty dang good. I was looking at like bucket seats. GMA body bucket seats are through the roof. They're like $800 for a set of things you gotta reupholster. I don't have anything extra, but I wanted something comfortable. So I was looking at Pro Car and things like that, but either way you go, you're looking at $1,000. Well, what made the most sense was just to recover the seat that was in the car. I got this black vinyl seat cover, and I got black because it was cheaper. It was $250. It's PUI. Now, this is your driver's side here. It just needs a little reinforcement. The back part of the seat is pretty much destroyed. That's going to need new foam for sure. This part is in really good shape. So I've got a chunk of foam here, and we're just gonna have to trim this to fit and pad it in where we need it. This is gonna be really quick and dirty, messy. Just make it a seat cover. Now, every time I do upholstery, people get bored to death, so I'm not gonna go too deep here. But in these early cars, the seat cover actually screws on the back, and then there's just a couple of hog rings. Not too bad. So I'm just going to clear out enough of this that I can get a hog ring or 2 onto the frame. I'm going to leave the rest of it on there because it'll actually help kind of hold the seat together, and the old seat cover will help the new seat cover slide on good. The only thing we have to salvage out of the old seat covers are these pieces of wire. So we're going to want to put these in our new seat cover. This is what actually attaches the seat. Put these into the corners of, or into the ends of it, then you stretch it over and hog ring it right to the frame. I've had our new seat covers out there basking in the sun. So we're going to just slip them on. There is a pocket for that bail to go in here, but they don't cut it for you, so you got to cut that open and feed your bail in, and it's going to give you something to grab. If you guys want to see me actually do like a decent job on upholstery, just go watch those videos that nobody else watched, and you can see that. This will not be that. It's tearing a little bit. This is a very, very cheap seat cover. It's not helping the case, but it's going. There we go. Getting there. On to the next one. I think I've got just enough to pad up the driver's side of the seat, and then I think I've got maybe enough to do the bottom of it. Get some of those loose dingleberries off of here. My back will thank me for this in about a month. Think they make this stuff out of cows still? Doing the bottom of the seat, and jackpot. This is going to add up to a percentage of the car's value. Look at that. Give me $1 to put this toothpick in your mouth.
No, I'm
It's sealed in the plastic.
I'm really good on that.
Alright, I'm gonna finish covering this seat. I got the foam cut, sort of, for it. We're getting there. But we need to go find a back seat. And you guys are not gonna believe this, but the back seat of this LTD cop car is disgusting. But also, it's almost the perfect width. It's better than no seat.
Yep.
I guess. Yeah, you get the back.
May need a little cleaning.
No, it's pretty much good to go.
There's spiders and ants.
Yeah, have fun. I love the hair that's on it, because I don't know where that came from.
Lulu, probably.
Probably the cat. Might be able to cram this in there.
If we cram it in there, it's not going to come back out.
Nope. It's going to be sitting up pretty high. Probably comfy,
That's
though.
That's really comfy.
Getting the back part of the seat attached is really the more important part, so we have JD crawl in here and we'll just safety wire it in. Work. And I'll safety wire in the bottom part of the seat. Decent?
Yeah.
Not bad. You're 5'11"-ish, and you fit alright, so it's wired in, and I got 2 screws shot into the corners of the bottom to hold it in, so you get this back part pretty good?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Alright. Part 1. Do it this way. It's easier to put the seat belts through. Well, unless I didn't leave a hole. I didn't. Okay, so anyway, you just put the seat belts right through there. Done. Halfway there. Looks good. I mean, this looks good.
Yeah.
You know. Added a couple of nuts to the back of the seat, kind of keeps it from doing the gangster lane. And you can tell I didn't get this seat stretched all the way over, but you know what? I think it's fine. It's not bad.
That's not bad
I'd still lean a little bit, but it's comfortable. Is there room in the back?
I'm kind of glad the seat's like this, actually.
Hey, that's
There
nice.
is enough room.
All this, and we didn't even try, like, very much at all.
And we didn't even spend that much money.
No, this seat cover was $250. The rest of it we had. JD screwing holes in the radiator. That's what you do, you know.
Yep.
Try to get that thing to quit flopping around so much. Alright, couple updates. I decided I hated the side pipes looking like shiny-ish, so I'm painting them black. Also, got a new set of wheels. Gonna check those out in a minute. And also, I mounted up a pair of drag slicks that we're gonna bring with us. These are, 26 by 9s. Pretty skinny. They fit in the wheel well pretty well. We're gonna have to do a little trimming just to make sure. I'm just gonna take that lip out of the wheel well. But it should be fine, especially with the air shocks. Are we gonna need slicks? Maybe, because all this thing does is spin, and that will at least get us moving down the track. I've never owned a pair of drag slicks in my life. I spent more on those 2 tires than I probably did on any single thing on this car. That's not an exaggeration. Actually, they were like $280 a piece. I don't think I spent $500 on anything else on this car. The good thing is they're Chevy bolt pattern. I can use them on other things down the road. They're not just for this car. Now let me bomb this side pipe black with this high heat. And then you guys are going to really get a kick out of the wheels that I have for this thing. Yeah, that's a massive improvement. You can see it dries nice and matte. That's a pretty good look. Boom. Daisy mags. My dad found these on Marketplace for like $400 with the cool old bias ply tires. Guy took them off a 67 Chevelle in the early 1970s. Never used them since. They're pretty cool. We got 14s for the front and 15s for the rear. So that's why I'm putting a front on right now. Make sure it clears the disc brake. And it's tight. It's real tight. I don't know. Shoot. A little bit of grinding, we can make this work, and I think we have to because, I mean, come on. Yep. So 14-inch wheels generally don't fit disc brakes. And the old guy Dad got these from said, oh yeah, the Chevelle had disc brakes. Well, no. Very, very unlikely. Just need to grind the caliper bracket. It's not rubbing on the caliper that I can tell. It's just the caliper bracket. And some 14-inch wheels do fit disc brakes, but they're pretty rare. I mean, a lot of factory wheels do, but they're kind of few and far between. That's the main reason we started going to 15-inch wheels. And yeah, the caliper bracket definitely sticks out higher than anything else here, so maybe we can just persuade it a little. And it bends remarkably easy. Alright, not quite. You have to take a little meat off of the high sides of this. I got it close, and I'm pretty sure what I'm hearing is the brand new brake pads rubbing. Just to find out, I'm going to take a paint marker and color in the back edge here. And we'll spin it a couple of times and see if that's marked. Just roll around, and doesn't look like it's touching it. So that's good. That's where it was rubbing. You know, between these wheels weighing about half as much as the old steel wheels and the dangerous amount of material I've removed from the caliper brackets, think of the weight savings. Think of the faster ET we might have now. I got one. I try to get the rest of them. I'm mounting them myself because even with my old tire machine, I think I stand a better chance of not scratching them than a tire tech these days. I know I probably got some gym bros out there that go to the gym every day. But you know, you can save you a lot of money. You just got you a 50-year-old tire machine. Just run one of these babies for 8 hours a day, and you ain't gonna need that gym membership, son. I pulled the Chevy emblems out of the middle of those center caps, and Dad had a set of Buick emblems for some reason. Well, that little project's done. Got Buick center caps. Not one of them's in the middle of that center cap. That's gonna drive me nuts. So I need to trim the lip of this fender, both fenders actually. These 14-inch wheels are actually a little bit taller with a 225/70/14 on them, and that's just gonna make our problems worse. It already rubbed. So I'm gonna take the whole inner lip out of that wheelhouse. Somewhere, somebody's crying about this fender. And I don't blame them. It's actually not that bad. Think of the weight savings. Lots of weight savings. Now we don't want this razor sharp edge in here, so we'll take a hammer and a dolly. Brakes are good. Make sure they lock up.
Alright.
I think the gas gauge works. You hooked up the ground?
Yep.
Shows half a tank.
Oh.
Either that or we're going to run out of gas. One or the other. I just want to run down the road. We still got to do some wiring and stuff on this thing, but I want to feel how the brakes and all of our adjustments and improvements have, I don't know, let's see what they've done. Oh, there goes the gas gauge. Maybe we should go to the gas station.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There we go.
I mean, it's not a rocket ship, but it's a good solid 14-second car. And that's all I want. Looks like it's holding together.
Yep.
It's rubbing right front. Just a little bit. I think it's the caliper bracket is flexing and it's getting into the wheel. See that line in there?
Yep.
That's what it is. It's just grinding away on the wheel, but only when I hit the brake. So it's probably the caliper is flexing. It may be the whole caliper. I just need to, we're just gonna have to grind on it, but that's all right because I got to get the tires balanced anyway. So this is all stuff we need to figure out now, and we have time before duct tape to figure it out. That's not getting any bigger. know it's just the wheel though, so it's fine. It's gonna leave a really good witness mark on there for us. That's what it'll do. That was violent. Dude, I about lost it. It was hitting the rev limiter too. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I heard that.
Just bouncing, 4,600 RPM. It's gutsy, dude. I mean, it's got it. So it would have kept going if I wouldn't have tried to go into the telephone pole. It's got some nuts. We're not done. Still got some wiring to do. We still have no headlights, no wipers, etc. It shakes pretty good. Probably the wheels being out of balance. But then again, could it be the drive shaft that's, well, it's not homemade, but it is just stuff I found. I may want to order a little longer drive shaft. And I might do that before we go. This is good enough for now. But it's got a pretty good shake to it, especially you get up to about 80, 85 miles an hour. You feel it, it's there, and going to be doing that at the end of a track. Other than that, and that wheel rubbing, this thing is mint. It runs nice and cool. We romped on it hard, nothing happened. That's not the first time I've done that, except for now it does it even better. It's strong. I've deemed this car worthy of one of my most prized possessions, the gold Moroso air cleaner. That has to stay. Like, that doesn't go with the car if we ever were to sell it. But it would look cool on here. Dad had this laying around.
What's that? Oh.
So, I'm going to go ahead and throw this on. Because why not? It's a nice purple steering wheel. That should match everything else about as poorly. Yeah, that's badass. I like this steering wheel. I'm not going to put the purple steering wheel on it. I decided. We'll put the purple wheel on something else. But if we take this wheel off, we'll never put this wheel on anything else. And it feels great. Like, it's got a nice feel to it, and it's metal and chrome, and yeah, it's kind of cracked up and beat up, but so is the rest of the car. I like it. It's got character. So on to wiring. We have this harness out of one of the Le Mans parts cars out back. Oh, hey, it worked. It actually snapped in.
Oh.
I was just trying it. It didn't snap in. This harness came with the car, and it didn't snap in. Although now I'm questioning it. But it looks like it's had a pin broke off or something. That actually plugged in. Which means maybe we can have headlights? Also, where's the wiper wiring? Oh, wiper wiring's over here. So it still has that. I got a wiper motor coming. Let's see if we got headlights. Hey!
Oh, there we go.
Go shut it off.
Yep.
Alright. Well then, all we need this to do is provide us headlights. So, it'll work for that. Obviously, we're missing some of the other stuff. Like horns and turn signals and whatnot. But, I'll deal with that tomorrow. Well, today I've just been plinking along. It is my birthday, so we'll call this a day off. Kinda. I gotta get the headlights and taillights working. And I did get gauges and a cigarette lighter and charging port thingy here. Check out this volt gauge. Huh? Isn't that cool? It's not period correct at all, but it is the only one I had, which makes it perfectly correct. That's kind of neat. Anyway, let's start with headlights and then work our way back. I don't want to bore you to death, so I'm basically just going to plug stuff in, see what comes on, and then we'll diagnose what doesn't. Oh, also, I installed a fantastic new sticker from polebarnmerch.com. Make sure you get some You know, you need these. You really do. Without that, your car is practically illegal to drive. I gotta add a couple of grounds here. They were cut off of this old harness out of the parts car out back. I'm gonna hook those up, and I think this car might have one good headlight in it, maybe. I don't have any extras. And can you believe it? Freaking O'Reilly, they had 2 low beams in stock. But they didn't have any high beam headlights at all. None. No round headlights. Like, what is the world coming to? God. Well, that works. I know that high beam is bad, and that high beam is bad, but hell, 2 headlights is good enough. And as you can tell, they are really perfectly well adjusted. I mean, this one is so you can see the trees, and that one so you can see the ditch. I don't know if I can adjust these. I vaguely recall screwing it in with a drywall screw. Maybe I'll try. Maybe. Probably not. Do we have tails? We do. We have 1 tail. That's good. So this one's probably just a ground or a bulb, maybe. Alright. Hey, no, we're 3/4 of the way there. 3/4 if you deduct for the other 2 headlights and that the brake lights don't work either. But basically, we're there. Yep, that'll do it. Every time. I figured out the brake light issue. There's no power going to the brake light switch. There's no power going to the brake light fuse. So something's wrong with the fuse block. So rather than fix that, I'm going to take this random wire I found that's hot, and then I'm just going to stick it on the brake light switch. And the wiring from here to the back of the car is still intact, and it seemed to be working. This socket is very corroded, nasty. Clean it up. Probably reuse a new bulb in both of these, and we'll see if we can get something going here. I got my phone set up back there, looking at the tail light. Off, on, okay, that's good. Now we got running lights, brake, running, brake, running. Oh yeah, we're good. Nice and bright. I think we've wired it, so let me wrap this up, and I think that's it. You know, while I was back here, I figured I'd better put in a battery hold down. Otherwise, you know, I mean, you could take out crowds of people would perish if you didn't have a battery hold down in your car. I mean, oh my God. We're gonna just use some plumber's strap here, and I'll just strap it in. I've got it bolted in on this side, and then this side where it's harder to see, I'll just shoot a self-tapping into it. I mean, that should work, right? Shouldn't this count as a quote-unquote battery hold down? Is it any different than, you know, the one that's in your car stock? Oh, that's gonna hold it in really good. That should be fine, right? There we go. I mean, look, that thing ain't going nowhere. I mean, I get it. You just might say, Dalton, why don't you just follow the rules? Wouldn't it be easier? Yeah, it would, but rules are dumb. So, no. And with that, I think we're done. Go to polebarnmerch.com, support the channel. That's how we keep this operation going, with the exception of Lead Brakes, and thank you to them for the brake kit. We run on very few sponsored parts. This whole car is basically built out of scraps, and that's how I like to do things, because that's the way you can do things. You can build this car. I think I have $3,700 in it, including the value of that brake kit. $3,700 can net you this absolute riot burnout machine of a car. All it takes is a little elbow grease. Just hit subscribe, please. That helps a lot. And we will see you guys next time. I don't know what I'm doing next week, but we'll find something fun to do. Obviously, I got a few things to do to this. I'll probably do them on the second channel outside the barn. I'm going to put a floor shifter in it. I may even change the drive shaft just because I'm kind of scared of it. But just a couple little things, nothing to fill out a whole video. So the next time you see the Cadilark on this channel, it's going to be driving 1,500 miles to Duct Tape Drags in Tucson, Arizona on Poverty Tour. Again, if you're interested in Poverty Tour, check out the Facebook page, join, and come with us if you can. We'll see you.